between the light and the dark stands Castle Grayskull.
Alright there, my giant-sized fan things, how you all doing? Hope you're keeping safe out there. Today is something a little different. Okay. I'm a child of the late 80s, which means basically I had one major male hero growing up. He-Man, most powerful man in the universe. And yeah, I gotta admit, I damn love the franchise. It was brilliant. Like every other kid back then, I watched the cartoon series He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, which was really cool. I love the animation, I love just all the aesthetic of it, but it wasn't actually the first introduction I had to He-Man or the Masters of the Universe. No, I actually had the mini comics first, just because of the weird way things were released back in the 80s, where like they'd come out in America. Like for instance, He-Man was released in 1982 in America. I was born in 87. So He-Man was already 5 years old as a franchise when I was born. So as you can imagine, by the time I got around to it, a lot of things had already come out. The cartoons, I don't even think were on TV back then. I watched them on VHS, and before I had those VHSs, VHI, whatever they're called, I had the mini comics that originally came with the figures. I'd found a collection of them somewhere, I think at a car boot sale, and I loved them. They were very different to the cartoon. The art style alone was brilliant, you know, but in terms of story, gone was Prince Adam, who turned into He-Man. He-Man was a powerful barbarian warrior who went off into the world to answer a calling he didn't quite understand, and along the way he met the goddess, not the sorceress as in the cartoon, but no, the goddess, who granted onto him powerful technologies and magics from an ancient past. And he was no longer like magically super strong and invulnerable. He was a powerful man, but his great strength and nigh invulnerability came from technology, a force field belt, well, force field harness, and a strength enhancer, and it was really cool. And even though the villains were very different, Skeletor wasn't this laughing, okay, he was a little bit of a laughing maniacal villain, but he wasn't as comedic as he was in this cartoon. He was genuinely scary, and within like the remit of these comics, rather intelligent, and he succeeded quite a few times, only to have his plans foiled, not through his own stupidity, but through the actions of heroes. And yeah, again, it was brilliant, and that sort of set in my mind what He-Man should be. Because like the setting for it was a post-apocalyptic sort of like Conan the Barbarian style thing, where there'd once been an age of higher technology, where a great war had come and everything had gone back to like a Stone Age almost setting, with only very few people with the knowledge of how to use what little technology remained. And it became a battle between, I say, good versus evil, with Skeletor using mainly magic with a little bit of technology. Well, He-Man had the same thing. He had the magic of Grayskull, as well as all the technologies that were given to him by the goddess and maintained by Man-at-Arms, and it was just a really cool setting. It was high fantasy, and I loved it. I truly did. And yeah, it kind of like, if you want to get a good idea of what it was like, or at least what I thought it was like in my head, if you've ever seen the old Thundar the Barbarian cartoon, that's got a very similar, almost identical premise. And I am not entirely sure which one came first. It'd be interesting to see if Thundar actually came out before He-Man. That'd be interesting. I don't think he did, but I think it's going to be pretty close. But yeah, and as I said, big into it as a kid, loved the show, loved the comic books, and I got a lot of the toys, mainly from car boot sales. But I still got a lot of the toys, and they made a lot of them. There was all sorts of variants of He-Man, Skeletor, or the heroic Masters of the Universe, or the villainous Masters of Evil. Wait, was it Masters of Evil? That's Marvel Comics. Evil Warriors, that was it. The Evil Warriors. I had loads of them. And the centerpiece of any Masters of the Universe collection back then had to be Castle Grayskull. That which all the conflict was over. And I had one, and it was brilliant. It was an amazing playset. It was something like every child dreamed of. It was interactable. Well, I mean, you could use it for your settings of your fights. It had loads of accessories, weapons, laser cannons, a real drawbridge, beautifully sculpted and painted. It was amazing, and yeah, it was really great. And I'll be honest, I haven't really given He-Man a second thought for nearly 20 years. Until I walked down Smith's a few weeks ago and saw there on the aisle the classic toy from my youth, re-released with modern engineering, modern articulation, modern sensibilities in terms of toy manufacturing and release, but classic sculpts. That classic head sculpt of He-Man that I had as a child, and I found myself drawn to it, and Skeletor, and a few others. Because look at these things, the packaging is that classic packaging I remember as a child. It's as nostalgic as it gets. It's amazing. And they've done all the ones I had as a child near enough, and even some of the ones I didn't get as a child, but that's them. These are the toys I had, wish I had, but new. And not like some brands where they keep recycling the same characters with new sculpts and new designs. They're classic sculpts, classic designs, but modernised in a way that makes sense which makes sense and is still true to that original aesthetic and that sensibility. And needless to say, I put a large wad of money down, and I bought, I say, a fair few. And I don't regret it. I have more on the way. They are amazing. But, yeah. I have all these Masters of the Universe figures now. They kind of need a Castle Grayskull. You can't have one without the other. And the line does have a Castle Grayskull. It's not bad. It's, say, 90 quid-ish. It's all these figures are the same scale as the original, so it's the same size as the original one. As far as I can tell, it comes with the same accessories, near enough. Like, the interior looks really good. It's great. It's just I don't know. Being an adult now, I kind of think I like it, but it doesn't quite scratch that itch of the Castle Grayskull from those comics I remember reading. So the thought came to me, why don't I build my own? And so that's what I'm going to do. Over the next few videos, I'm going to go piece by piece and show how I make a Castle Grayskull. Now, I'm not going to start this from scratch. Luckily, I have somewhere in the attic, I say somewhere, I know exactly where it is now, an old Castle Grayskull. Mainly just the outer shell, but as you can see here, it's brilliant. It folds in folds in half like a carry case, and you can fold it out and it gives you the front of the castle and the side. So I'm going to use that as the base. So here is my plan. First of all, I'm going to separate the two halves. Have the front of the castle as the front and the other piece as the rear. I'm going to mount the two of them onto a piece of, say, 6mm MDF, reasonably spaced apart. Then I'm going to use another piece, probably 3mm, to recreate the second level of the castle. Trying to keep as close to the original levelling as I can, well, the original height as I can, to make sure figures will actually stand on it. Then I'm going to build one wall on the far, probably, I haven't decided yet, but say for argument's sake, on the left hand side as you were looking at it. I can make that from, XPS foam, I can make that from there. I'll figure that out later for the big wall. I'm also going to extend the turrets and the towers because they sort of like stop halfway, so I'm going to use, let's say, the XPF, bring them round, complete them. I'm also going to make them functional, put in floors so you can have figures standing on them, creating a sort of artificial second floor or third floor, or ground floor, first floor, second floor, an artificial second floor in the towers. And yeah, I think that should work. The one thing I'm going to have to tackle first of all is the way these things are made. They're actually very thin. They're kind of like jelly molds in a sense. They look great from the outside, but on the inside, it's just the reverse of the external sculpting. The walls are very thin. So here's what I'm planning to do. Here's like a cross section of the back bit. I'm going to put a piece of MDF down on the bottom, which they're all connected to, and will work as the base level of the castle. I'm then going to, let's describe this. Get some XPF foam, cut it into boulder/brick shapes in the sort of same style as the external stonework, and affix them to the inside, probably with either hot glue or something else. I'm then going to seal them and paint them the same colour as the rest of the castle. The rest of the castle is probably going to get a repaint anyway, but in this illustration I just mean like they're going to match whatever colour I put the exterior. These stones will match that. Similarly, the levels in the towers, I shall give them floors as well. Use XPS to extend them around, like filling in the interior detailing as well as continuing the walls around the outside to build them up. And yet again, they'll be painted the same way as the rest of the castle stonework. Hopefully that should work. Right, so let me show you how far I've gotten so far. Okay, first of all, this is my original Castle Grayskull. The wonderful work. Oh, just look at this thing, it's amazing. The sculpt work on it is fantastic. I'm not going to say shoddy, that's the wrong word. The quick and easy paintwork done with spray cans just to get across a feel for it, like a very gothic horror feel for it. It looks brilliant. As you can see, the stonework on it, I'll take it on the back to show you. The stonework on it is really well done. Like, it just looks like laid stone, and that's probably going to be really easy to do with XPS. I'm actually tempted to cut this back door out and have that as like a secret entrance at the back, but I'll tinker around with that idea as I get to it. But yeah, as you can see, it looks absolutely amazing. I can't believe that this is something I had as a kid. It's amazing. Opening up to the inside, you can see it's a bit bare bones. All I've got is the trapdoor door, the seat, and what looks to be the top part of the point dread bit, which does actually fit on the top of the castle as like an extra bit. But that might come useful if I ever get the Strato Fighter, which it comes with. Is it a Strato Fighter? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. And you can also see it's a little dirty, but I can sort that out. So yeah, anyway, here's the castle split into two halves. So as you can see, the gated half with the drawbridge at the front, the other half at the back. That's roughly as far apart as I'm going to have them. And hopefully, once I've cut the tabs off the side, the latches, sanded everything down, I'll have a surface I can then continue around with a bit of work. But as I said, these things are kind of dirty. They need a damn good scrub. So I'm going to take them outside, get them going over with some strong dish soap, a sponge, because this plastic is tough, by the way. This plastic, you can build houses out of it. It's really strong plastic, and it's designed and engineered, well, amazingly. It can, this has lasted nearly 40 years, so they built things to last back then. Yeah, give it a good clean, give it a rinse off, letting it dry for an hour or two, just get all that dirt off. Like, there's years worth of old, I think, Coca-Cola spilt in there or something. It wasn't pretty, but yeah, I've got everything off, it's all cleaned. Now let's see if I can get the levels to work. I'm just going to use a piece of foam board first of all, and then just slowly trim sections away from it to get it to sit flush to the back of the castle, or the back of the castle interior. It hasn't got to sit exactly flush because that's going to be brought out, was going to be brought forward at some point with the XPS foam on the inside. What I may do is put the floor in first and then build the XPS foam around it so it sits flush. But yeah, I think that's gone pretty well to the back. Similarly to the front. It was actually hard to do the front for some reason, I'm not entirely sure why. But yeah, as you can see, that's going to be the rough width of the castle, and that looks to be kind of the height I think it should be. I'm following the guidelines of the original floors that came with it. The one floor is slightly higher than the other, so I've had to choose a midpoint between the two, but I think it works. And just to make sure I do have enough headroom, here's the Masters of the Universe Origins Skeletor, stood down the floor. It's going to be a little bit higher with that new floor put in, but I think it works. He has enough headroom. I might work some lighting in there, like some torches. I've got some like electric candles to make torch braziers or braziers, however you pronounce it. And I think it's going to look really, it's going to work really well. It's going to look great. And he's got plenty of room on the top floor. Even when I work in those parapets and the other floor sections, I think it should look really good. Well, that's it for the moment. That's as far as I've got today. I've got the foam in. I'm going to have to take a few days to start cutting the foam down into chunks that I can then turn into reasonably sized stones. I'm also going to use this foam board, put it onto some MDF, that's it, and use it as a template to cut out MDF that will fit, hopefully, flush and perfectly. And hopefully I can show you all that in the next video. So I hope you've enjoyed this so far. If you have, please leave a like, a comment, and any ideas you have that might help me with this project. And if you want to see how this carries on, please subscribe to my channel, and hopefully next time we can see how far it goes. Well, that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, I want you all to stay safe, stay sane, and keep on rolling. And I'll see you all next time. Ta-da!